We are on the moorland proper now, and as you can see, the trees are extremely small and stunted. They haven't really shot up much past 15 feet. They don't get the opportunity. The wind just hammers and keeps them down. But as we go further up, even these trees will struggle to gain purchase. Like you can see over there on the rise dropping down into Sharp Tor, there's very few and patchy trees up there. It's just too hard going for them to gain purchase and survive up there. Yeah, while I stop my breath, I've just stopped here, but as you can see, there's sheep in this field, and the observant of you will probably be figuring out that something's quite wrong with this picture. But yeah, I think you could probably get a baby rhino through that gap in the hedge. I don't know, perhaps they know that's home. But as I turn around looking back down the hill, you can see a sheep and its lamb making its way up. So I guess they'll be heading into this hole. Right, I've just climbed the basically farm access road around the back, and you could leave a car here if you wanted to. There's a couple spaces you could leave a car, but I have to make my way around to a pathway which will skirt the bottom of the tour and then make our ascent. We did say we were going to call this an ascent, and I'm out of breath, so that kind of proves it's an ascent. There is parking for a couple cars if you're very careful and stay out of the farm, shall we say, owner's way, who lives down this track. You know, it's one of those things, you may have access up here, but you always have to tread with a degree of respect and not upset any locals, and to be honest with you, it's not worth it. If you look at those fields, you'll see lines sort of like in the grass, and from what I understand reading about this place, that could be or denoting ancient field systems. I'll see if I can zoom in for you. You might just faintly see lines, and yeah, like from what I can understand, that could represent ancient field systems. This would go all the way around to the other tours and heading out towards Minions Way, but as you can see, it is the remnants of an old railway or track system that used to go out and feed the mines out onto further out on the moor. But yeah, it's no longer in existence in its true form, but you can still make out the path it went. Sharp Tor, looking completely down over the rest of Cornwall and Devon there, all the way out to Dartmoor. Spectacular views, even when it's this kind of weather, overcast and dull. I've increased the zoom to my maximum. I'm not sure how beneficial that's going to be, because like I said, there's a haze, there's rain in the air, and it's beginning to spot. So I'll just bring it back down. But it is absolutely stunning. And my house is somewhere down there, and I get to look up at all this. I'm not about to crawl in there and find out what or how far that goes back, but you know, there's probably a reason that there's a hole here like this. Yeah, but don't ever attempt anything like that up here on the moors, because mine shafts are dangerous, and yeah, don't ever, if you do find something like this, don't ever attempt to go in or even get near a mine shaft. And that being said, there is a emergency information given your actual grid reference and how to contact the mountain rescue if you should so need them. But like I say, if you're up here, always be a little bit cautious and don't put yourself in any risk. So clearly the route I've taken is by the lanes, as I explained, to get here, and as you've seen. And once I've got here, I've come up to a place where you can get to with a couple cars, as I've explained, and if you follow the path you can make your way down this track and it will take you to the base of Sharptor, where you can begin your ascent. But yeah, you can approach this from a multitude of other directions through coming across different locations across the moors, but for me today this was the most convenient to get here, just to bring you along and show you. That being said, I've had a damn good workout in the process. As I walk this lane, I'll come around the corner and you can see it in the distance now, and that is a serious amount of granite there to actually get up. And I've just zoomed in now, and we're going to make our way to the top of that now. This path is quite green and it's covered with grass at the moment, but when it's been raining this will become a bit of a bog fest. And yet again, I suppose it's common sense, but I have to state, a decent pair of boots, you can't go wrong. And by that I mean not welly boots, kind of like walking, hiking boots, something that gives you a little bit of support, because you're walking over uneven ground with boulders, rocks, can get slippy, and you can't avoid it. Sheep droppings, which you know, it's the next best thing to walking on ice if you got sheep droppings anywhere on the grass. So from here, you'll have to excuse the wind because we are gaining altitude now. Well, it'll track all the way along here, reach this little saddle here, and then you can climb up on that ridge all the way to the top and stand and gain a vantage point out over a large portion of Cornwall and Devon. And that's exactly where we're going to go. True moorland walking conditions, and you know, getting back to what I said about boots, you know what I mean, it's your ankles and things like that. You know, you twist it or even snap or break it, which isn't out of the realms of possibilities. I mean, people are going to say we're not in true mountain country, and that is true, but you trip and fall, you know, here, you know, a granite boulder or rock in Cornwall is going to hurt as much as it would in Scotland, Wales, or even the Alps. You know what I mean? It's a case of a little bit of being sensible, and it could stop your day being ruined. But yeah, it's grassy this first bit up to the first gate, and from there it's a little bit of boulder scrabbling. Right, I'm looking back down through and looking out over to the other parts of the moor. You can hear that wind, and that is the reason there's very few trees here. And these trees that are here, you can see now, they are really stunted. And as if you needed proof, you can literally see this is a harsh environment when it's the weather's poor. But yeah, we're going to continue making our way up here. This poor old tree is clinging to life. I would say a vast portion of it is dead, and there's a few glimmers of leaves just coming through here, but this poor tree here looks like it's been through hell and back, I'd say, living up here. And yet again, if you need proof how bad the winds can be up here, as you can see, those roots are completely snapped and that tree's been literally pushed over. It's evident that it's not or wasn't in the best of conditions, but nevertheless, you know, it can get brutal up here. Making our way to that old rusty gate, and you can clearly see where we got to go. It is looking quite imposing. It's an impressive granite structure, even looking at it from this angle. It is the opposite side, which when you're looking up to it gives it that pointed look, but even coming up over the back of it, it is quite something to behold. But anyway, I'm talking and I know that weather's closing in, as you can see, and you'll probably wonder why I'm talking and not getting up there getting this done. So yeah, I'm going to push on. Good old stone walls. You know, you can only imagine how long they've been here standing, and like I say, just look down on that view all the way over to Dartmoor and everything that sits below it. Absolutely spectacular. And bringing you around, looking over to Caradon, and you got all that woodland down there in between, and that's all native. Most of this will be ferns. When the ferns regenerate, a lot of this will be quite densely covered in ferns. As you can see, it's died out over the winter months. You can clearly see the track up through here. And evidently you can clearly see you've got a bit of boulder manoeuvring to do, and hence why I said just a little bit of care. Don't twist your ankle or anything like that. Yeah, once I do get to the top, I'm gonna have a drink, because that's been a lot of work to get up to this particular point. But it's not over yet. I've still got to get to the very top. I'm actually talking like I've actually finished this, but I haven't yet. But yeah, I'm going to have a drink. I'm quite thirsty now. We've nearly reached the actual saddle, and there are different ways you could scale it, but the safest and most common route, and the one I recommend and would say is definitely the safest, is basically where you walk along the spine out to the outer tip of Sharp Tor. So yeah, keep going up. You get a spectacular view once you get over the top of here, looking right over to Kilmore and Kilmore Tor and Birra Tor. But that'll be something I do in another day. From here, my boots actually feel like lead at the moment, but yeah, as you can see, we're just about ready to broach here, and I just want you to look over the top, and it is really impressive. I'm actually there, taking you right away across these views. I have to apologise for that wind once again, but let's make our way over the top. And as we come over the top, we can look over to Birra Tor, Kilmore Tor, and then you'd have 12 mans more. We will do those at some point, but not today. We still have our main objective, which was to scale up to there. So without any further ado, and before this wind picks up, let's get to the top. Right, the track is along the spine is pretty well trodden, well worn. Basically, you should have no problems finding your way. I'm going to say this, it might sound stupid, but if the weather's poor visibility, and there is weather conditions, you shouldn't be up here. I wouldn't recommend attempting this. Should you slip, should you fall, it just means somebody else is going to come up here and get you. And as you can see, there's a little bit of rock scrabbling that you will have to do, and I'm doing it here now. And to get up through here, just turn off a minute while I scrabble up. Right, picking up where I scrabbled up there. It's up over here. Just getting up over here, picking my route. Like I say, it's just a case of just being careful how you do this. That wind is blowing a hoolie up here. You obviously won't need me to tell you that. I'm looking right out to Brown Willie now, in the distance there, the highest point in Cornwall. As I've apologised before, just bear with me with the wind noise and that. If nothing else, it gives you an idea how barren and bleak, and indeed how challenging the conditions can be here up here. I'm going to have to put my hoodie on once I get back down, because I can actually feel a chill now. This wind is really sapping the heat. And you can either go around there on the side, which obviously you've got to fall, so be careful if you're doing it that way, but obviously I recommend picking a safer route, which I'm doing here now. I'm just getting myself up there and just follow this little track around up between the boulders. And we are now reaching the near, well, this technically would be the highest point, but you can go out another 15 feet that way, which we will do to look out over. There's a little cross there, but just have a look at that. Just take that wind noise in for what it is, and you can see how high we are here looking down across to the other tours, and over there, that is Brown Willie. That would be bleak up there also today, and that's from where we've come. So that is the highest point, like I said, but we're going to scamper out here because you have to do it. It's almost like the Titanic scene, isn't it? You have to be at the front and just look out over, just moving along. Like I said, you do need to be careful all the way around here. It isn't somewhere to take lightly, because a slip, trip or fall would hurt regardless of it being in Cornwall. So yeah, you can push your way out a bit further here, and I'm making my way right to the edge here. And as you can see down out over there, I'm not going to get any closer, there's no need for me. You can get the idea. There's a substantial drop, possibly 100, 200 feet before it starts hitting that descent down to the wall. But there's the baby tour of Notre Tour. You can see all the way to Launceston. You can even just about see the north coast of Cornwall. This is really impressive. And I think you get the idea. So I'm going to backtrack and find somewhere to get out of this wind and have a little chat. Yeah, it is time to get back off here. Like you say, the rain is coming. Like I say, it's been spectacular. I'm glad I've done it now, and I'm glad I've brought you along. But I'm going to get out of the wind, get my hoodie on, have a drink, something to eat, have a little chat with you guys, and then I shall push on through possibly a different track, or possibly backtrack the way I came home. Well, I've just had something to eat and I parked myself behind a very big stack of boulders, and unless you stepped around the side, you're going to get battered. But here it's not too bad. Well, it's 378 meters and 1,240 feet above sea level, so that explains why you're getting battered up here when obviously down in the valleys it wasn't too bad. As I've just said earlier on, in the book of Southern Moors, Short Tor is described as a miniature Matterhorn. Now, we can all take that as with a pinch of salt and have a laugh, but that's as they saw it back in the day. Mining did take place here, incidentally, tin and copper, and it was closed in 1870 on the back of a load of accidents that happened here. Man has been here for many years, 2000 BC to 700 BC, and you can find cairns here. Cyrus Redding in 1842 did actually write about this place, and I have a portion of the extract that he did wrote, and that is: stunted oaks grow in mossy meadows, bearded lichens hang from their limbs in the tor shadows. It's a magical place, and the views worth every step to reach. Take that for what it's written, but it truly is a magical place if you catch this place in the right light, possibly no wind, and I do enjoy coming up here. It is, to me, the closest thing I have to mountains, and for that very reason alone I enjoy coming up here. I hope you've enjoyed the effort it even takes for me to get here. It's beautiful and I enjoy this part of the world, but it does take a lot of effort for me to get here. If I'm not doing it with motor transport, it's on my own feet. The round journey, it's about 6 miles here, 6 miles back, so it is a fair hoof on your own 2 feet. So that being said, I've now got to pick my route and I've got to start making my way home. Yeah, it was a good job I brought a drink, and I've made short work of a litre, so there was a lot of sweat and effort put in to get here. I think I'm going to take a slightly different route home. It is all downhill back down to the valley, and then even though I've got uphill to get to my place, it's nothing to what I've had to do to get to here. So I'll take a few snippets for you guys on the way home, just so you can get a kind of picture of what it's like for me to get home from here. But yeah, I'm just going to finish a little bit more of this up, and then I'm going to make my way onwards. Just out of interest, my place of work did actually give me a phone call, and while I was talking to them, my phone signal did drop out. So that's something to bear in mind up here. Even though you can see masts, and I don't know what they are, but I can only guess there's got to be some sort of telecommunications masts that I can actually see. But phone signal isn't something to be relied on up here. So basically, I came that way, came up through this little cleft, and we did actually look out over there. I am going to be heading that way, but it won't be over to the tors, which are over that way. I'm going to be heading that way down to a track, which will take me down to that river, and I'm kind of guessing it's going to be slightly easier for me to, I could possibly cut off possibly a mile to my actual home destination. But as soon as I step out from protection of these rocks, I'm going to get battered by wind. So I'm going to switch off now and try to get get a fair way down over this hill so you guys don't have to endure being subjected to wind noise. Well, as you can see, the wind has slowed down slightly, but that's no guarantee. But you can possibly just make out that track there, and that's the one I'm heading to. So I've got a fair little bit of ground to cover down into this valley. It does get quite difficult because it will get overgrown with ferns, and you'll have to pick your way through the sheep and cattle tracks in it. It does actually get really overgrown. It would be really interesting to look on a map and find some of the other archaeological features on this piece of ground, but like I said, that's something to do on a nice clear, hot, sunny day, not a day like today. You can clearly see how desolate and barren this is. There is beauty in it, but obviously, you know, it really is bleak up here when it is winter. A sharp tour and we're at the top of it. We've descended pretty much down the spine, come down here, come down through this valley here, made our way back up, come across here, and I am now on a service road to a quarry. And I'm dropping quite fast now, and I'm doing it with a bit of haste to get out of this wind. It's just starting to have a little bit of a bite to it up here now, and yeah, I shall be not sorry to get down into those valleys again. So there's Sharp Tor sitting there on the skyline, and we have a very vibrant yellow to the gorse. That is looking almost electric. It's really standing out. And I'll just show you what the lowland moorland vegetation looks like. It's looking quite, shall I say, well, Lord of the Rings-ish, if you want to use that term, when you look at it in this kind of context. I've now left the moors. I've come off the tracks. I'm now down on the country lanes again, and this will make for some nice easy walking now. And I've lost the wind, which is a added bonus. Now I'm going to take my way down through here and make my way to a village called Bathpool. Pleasant little village down by a river, and that's the same river that is at the bottom of the valley that I will have to climb out of now. So I've made it pretty much down to the bottom of the valley. I'm down by the river, and it's you know, a bittersweet moment. Like I say, I've come down and I'm at the bottom of the valley, but I got the realization now I do have to trudge uphill, although not the gradient that I've just come from. I've just been taking a rest here, and I've been actually watching what I believe, I'm no fisherman, but I think they're actually trout down here in the actual eddies and currents of this well, slow moving river. But yeah, it's a charming place to stop and have a rest. I'm on what is a bridleway, and it's cutting off about a mile and a half off my journey. As you can see, it's not a very wide track, road, bridleway, however you want to describe it. But like I said, it reduces my homeward journey by about a mile and a half. So I'm actually feeling a little bit weary actually, so you know, every little helps, as they say. So there you go folks, there's Sharp Tor. You can't miss it, you've been there, you know what it looks like. And we stood on top of that pinnacle there. For me, I've just got to plod on the last few miles to get home, and then I'll wrap this video up, and it'll probably be with a cold cider in my hand. Well, I'm back home, I made it, and I've got my can of pear cider and I'm just chilling out. It did get a bit of a trudge, that last hill coming back home, and it's the first long one I've done in quite a while, to be absolutely fair, because I've been bogged down with work, so any hike or anything like that, it's been usually just a couple hours, just get out, get it done, get back. But I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I aim to get back out to do a lot more of those. In fact, I do have a 3-day, 2-nighter expedition across the complete moors I'm going to do this summer. Now, that's been planned for pretty much 2 years so far, but I've never been able to pull it off due to time and work constraints. But this year it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen, and I'll take you along for that one. But yeah, that's going to be something a little bit special, because as far as I'm aware, nobody's actually done something similar to this, so it should be something a little bit special, and I'd like to take you along. But as for this video, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me, seeing the high ground of Cornwall, and indeed the difference that it can be from the valleys to what it is up there. So yeah, all the best, take care, and I hope to catch you again. It's Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. Well you guys, I know I said I'd wrap that video up, but I thought I'd just show you this sunset. Absolutely stunning, and you can just see the sun going down between the trees. Absolutely glorious. But I just want to quickly tell you about something else. If you manage to stick with that video right the way through, could I interest you in checking out another video I did earlier on in my YouTubing video documenting process, where I did one where I was up on the highest point in Cornwall, Brown Willy, and that was in horrendous conditions. So if you ever have an inkling or an interest in how bad the weather can get up on these tours, check that one out, and that's me walking on Cornwall's highest point. So yeah, it's quite far back in my catalogue of videos, but it's there, so if you have a passing interest in how bad it can get, just check it out. Okay, I'm going to definitely wrap it up now. It's Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks.